Good morning and thank you very much for joining us. I am Yori Folari. I'm afraid if it's not one thing, it's another. Here we were yesterday talking about the dastardly attack on a church in Anambra State. And well, now from that, assassins, as the police put it, to kidnappers and a kidnapping den allegedly, discovered somewhere. The Obadei Ijaye end of the Lagos-Ibadan Expressway, there was just a mammoth crowd yesterday. You know all about it by now, but just in case you don't, let's situate it. Here's our report by Jokeli Jedu yesterday.
Confusion reigned in Ahmadiyya area of Lagos after a Loma cleaner alleged that she heard a cry for help emanating from an underground tunnel around Ajala bus stop. The cleaner allegedly sought help from passerbys and youths in the area, leading to the apprehension of a suspected kidnapper. The mob lynched the suspect before officials of the Nigerian army and the police got to the scene.
We
saw a Loma cleaner sweeping. She told us that some people were crying for help on the ground. When we got here, we turned on torchlights. We saw two people sitting down underground. We threw stones at them, but they did not come out. They stoned us back. We then decided to buy petrol and list the place. When the fire started burning, one of them ran through the other side. We caught him. He was holding a charm. He swallowed it. He said he cannot confess, that we should kill him if we want, and people said they should just kill him. The police wanted to take him, but the people refused, so they burnt him.
Shortly afterwards, pandemonium broke out when another man was spotted coming out from another side of the tunnel. The already angry crowd didn't spare the wanderer as they broke bottles and attempted to kill the suspected kidnapper. This time, the security officials, shooting sporadically, rescued the suspect. Where are you coming from? The security officials, while investigating the allegations, traced the tunnel to an abandoned building, but no incriminating evidence was found in the house. The mob, determined to get justice, ransacked homes in the area and challenged security officials to enter into the tunnel. All efforts to get the security officials to explore the tunnel to see if abducted people were kept on the ground proved abortive, so the people resorted to self-help. When TVC News moved through the tunnel, not much was seen as it led to a drainage. The mob who waited patiently at the other end spotted another man jumping out and caught him. This time, even the police were not spared. While it's still unclear what kind of nefarious activity goes on here, residents of this area want government and security agencies to look through this tunnel and find out if more victims are kept in this place.
Please help us beg government. They should help us. Our children attend government schools. They move through this place. Even we the parents, we get stuck in traffic and get home late. At times I get home at 12 midnight. Government should please put policemen here. They are still around. They are still in the tunnel.
They say some of them are still in our midst. So please, government should come and check this place.
Residents are apprehensive and want security agencies to investigate the puzzle that may be the answer to the number of people who have been declared missing in the area. Jokeli Jedu, TVC News, Lagos.
Well, so there we have it. As the police might put it, dastardly, nefarious kind of an act that's going on. Our guest this morning, Colonel Tony Iam, retired security consultant. Thank you very much, Tony, for coming on.
Thank you very much.
Indeed, our pleasure. And Evans Ufeli. Mr. Ufeli is a lawyer and he's a public affairs analyst. Thank you very, very much for coming on as well. Let me start with the lawyer, because you can see what's going on here. They're being called suspected kidnappers. The report says that, well, they themselves went through the tunnel. They, according to Joke, nothing incriminating could be found. They traced it. They linked to an empty house. Again, nothing incriminating found. We heard something about a charm being swallowed. I can't confess. But they've concluded that this is a kidnapper's den. Oftentimes, mobs, crowds like this kind of a thing comes down. Give me, since when the matter comes for processing, comes to be processed with lawyers and police and investigation involved, sentiments will be removed, and then you people, I mean the whole law and justice community, will be dealing with actuality. What is the impression you get from the story?
Well, the impression I get from the story is that mob action is actually very dangerous. Not because they cannot be right, but you see their findings are not usually very watertight because they are spontaneous.
That spontaneity.
Impatient. They do not want to even investigate beyond what they've been told, you understand, or what they deduce from circumstantial evidence. It needs to be processed other than just, okay, we saw people in a tunnel, we stoned them, we put fire, people ran out, you saw a charm. That could also mean that possibly those people could be kidnappers, they could be ritualists, but that is not enough because it's speculative.
Indeed.
And we cannot conclude on speculations.
Exactly, before a thorough investigation. Yes. Because, look, one doesn't know. One has to wait for the official word. In fact, I think we have an official word from the police. We'll come to that very, very shortly. But Colonel, we know that abroad you see homeless people. Some of them live in drains. This manhole is similar. So most people probably say, look, let's wait and find out. But the mob has taken over. The report was stating there that in one instance, even the police were in some peril of being overwhelmed by the mob. Just your quick thoughts before we take the official statement of the police.
The absence of effectiveness of the law and its enforcement creates mobs. In other words, my first impression is evidence of we are sliding into a near failed state, in that if there was even a tunnel, but I would have thought if we had a state that is functioning properly, that tunnel should have been, all tunnels everywhere are surveyed by the security services. The fact that this is existing shows that either the police is not equipped enough or have the number enough to do their work. So all these are indications of our sliding into a failed state. It's not an issue of blaming the masses. We should stop blaming the masses. A mob situation arises when there is absence of good governance.
Indeed.
That's what we are experiencing.
Okay, we'll come back to this. As you can see, it's a mob. We're very interested to find out what indeed the authorities make of it. But as I said, in other parts of the world, even as we speak, there are homeless people living in drains, drains, around the world, even in America.
Indeed, but they monitor them. They monitor them.
Okay, there you go.
Informers go into and stay with them.
And just to be sure of who they are.
Yes.
So, but here they are thought to be kidnappers, at least that's the sentiment.
Sure.
Are we ready yet with the official statement? Okay, let's hear what the police say.
And while police were there, we now had the problem of controlling the crowd who actually wanted to raise those buildings down, who wanted to vandalize the buildings, and that took us time to control them. We had to send more reinforcement, and I had to go there personally in order for us to appeal to them that jungle justice won't help us. We need to get to those elements there in order to be able to get evidence. And while police people, officers were doing that, some other people came out of the building. As of now, about 7 suspects that somehow emerged from the building have been taken into custody. We were able to stop them from being lynched, and we had also gone there in order to get scientific proof to all these things with the crime scene vehicle tools that we can use to lift items.
Okay, so there we have it. The police are saying, if I understood that properly, that look, investigations will commence and then we'll know exactly, because authorities, investigation bodies must follow the evidence.
Yes.
They have no choice but to follow the evidence and then make their deductions from the evidence. But for the moment, the hysteria in the air is that of, it's a kidnapper's den. That much has been said. It remains to be seen if that can be confirmed. It's a kidnapper's den was discovered. And the reason why there's this paranoia is because of the prevalence, if you want, of kidnapping in our society. I don't know how they arrived at that, saying as no hostage or no victim was seen. But this perhaps is indicative, as Colonel said, about a near collapse of society, because the things that are happening in our society these days, quite frankly, boggle the mind. So away from this whole incident, which is under investigation, is there not a societal issue? And it would seem that sociologists might say that we have a problem on our hands here if we don't fix it.
Yes.
The values today are so different from what our parents tell us used to be the norm.
Yes, it is so, because if you look at it structurally, you find out that what the society has enthroned themselves to do in terms of incivility further breaks down government. Because if the institutions are not working viably, it's not a license for society to take laws into their hand, because now you have killed 1-2 persons within this, and you are indeed erasing evidence, because you don't have a conclusive analysis of the process of what has happened, or what takes place there, and the 1 or 2 persons who came out have been killed, so you cannot get further. So mob lynching anywhere in the world where you have jungle justice is not a good way to fight crime, because I think that this society should brace up a little bit. Okay, we need to engage in investigation better. We need to also expand the coast. Then the police force, we need to, or the state, we need to open up all these hideouts, all these tunnels. There should be a proper lightning system. During daytime, it's a very serious business. When you go abroad, you see how the city is lit in the night and everywhere is open. Okay, even where you have people, where people congregate and all that, there are special forces that, you know, of the state that watch over what they do in those places. And if we do not do this now, we're going to have further, because some people still believe that they have to do rituals. They still believe in that so strongly. So how do we now uncap that? We need to look at the system, look at society, look at the needs of society, and see how we can invent proper and good policing, so that we can open up the space very well.
Okay, but Colonel, I'm wondering, one hears, for instance, the customs, just for a moment, I'm digressing to there, how the extent of our borders, we just don't have the manpower to man them. So when they say our borders are porous, it's something of an understatement. Is there not a similarity between that situation and a shortage of manpower and what we're talking about here? Because my brother Evans is saying that, you know, the police, we need to be doing it. They don't have the numbers.
They don't have the numbers.
They simply don't have the numbers. Even though you explained that in other areas of the world, police will drop by, intelligence will drop by from time to time.
They have the numbers, but you see that the numbers are.
They don't have the numbers.
You will find a commissioner with 30 policemen.
They don't have the numbers.
I mean, you need to spread this across.
But if you look at the number of manholes, the number of tunnels, please, sir.
They don't at all have the numbers. I have on this program said that right now, in the medium term, we need a 4-fold increase of the policemen you can see in uniform and the ones you can see in plain clothes. We need that generally. Anybody is a delusion to think that we have the number. First of all, in Lagos, and this is the whole thing to do with the structure of this country, Lagos deserves to have 3 state police commands. Lagos has only 1 police command compared to Yobe. This is how ridiculous. The other day, the governor was talking of having 3 area commands. That's not what he should be talking about. He should be talking of having 3 police commands. This is what Lagos, because of the extent of Lagos. So the police are undermanned. I share the commissioners, no matter what they do. This is why even their presidents, they were overwhelmed, that they had to be scared.
Yeah, I think I heard a shot there to sort of tell people to move back.
Our problem is that the government, that especially with the number of youths unemployed, I would have thought that the priority would have been for the government to beef up our security apparatus by employing, just like Lagos did earlier, some years ago, by extending where you have all these paramparas to absorb the youth. Without these jobs, this is the problem. Secondly, the other point is that there is also the issue of the social structures are deformed.
Thank you.
They are deformed to the extent that even people in the church and some prophets are caught, or some malams are caught, giving kidnappers rituals or what they call jazz. So we really need
fortifying them with jazz.
But this is not surprising, because the people are not in control of their government. The government is too far remotely in Abuja for Abuja to try to wear the eye all over the place. It's not possible.
It isn't.
This is why it is so important that we restructure. And I'm happy that the acting president has withdrawn the statement that is alleged to him, because it does not really reflect Oshibanjo in any respect. If he made a statement to say that those who are asking for restructuring, I'm not looking for job from anybody. You know, all I'm looking for is that my country can be as great as the country of my colleagues when I was a student in the UK. And that's what I've persistently been fighting for. The problem now is that a few days ago, the police, someone came in and shot in a church. It shows that there is free movement of arms.
Yeah.
And the point you were making earlier about how porous our borders are, it means that we need better, and people, we need to really have, in the immediate or mid-term picture, a 4-fold increment of personnel.
Indeed, and which we will be told will be, in a situation where there are competing needs for limited resources. Oh, we can't afford to have the required number of police. We can't afford to have the required number of customs men. We can't afford this. We can't afford that. Okay, whatever the arguments for or against that particular position, Colonel referred to a breakdown of societal values, because that's the next level. The police, first of all, or any monitoring agency, any enforcement agency for that matter, cannot police everywhere that needs to be policed. So what happens to the society? Because this is within a habitated area. In the past, it wouldn't have been possible. I'm talking about perhaps the distant past. Maybe I'm just guessing now. Go back about 50 years. You can't do that kind of a thing, because people around will know this. Who are you? What are you doing? Whose child are you? Where do you come from?
Yes.
But now, is it that the population explosion has made us much more anonymous to each other, so people don't even... What do you think is going on there?
Population is a factor, okay? The population of Nigeria has increased over the years. It's a very huge factor. One other factor, again, is that because of the breakdown of government, everybody is now preoccupied with the cross of survivor.
That's it.
Everybody is in a rush. Everybody wants to... You know, when a man is reduced to survivor, it creates other ripple effects and problems. Because here you have the government making an excuse to say the resources are limited. I mean, government should not tell us that Section 14, subsection 2B of the Constitution, the security and welfare of the people shall be the primary purpose of government. That legitimacy belongs to the people, through which government derive her legitimacy. So, I mean, sovereignty belongs to the people. So, if we have this kind of structure, and we're saying, okay, because of the way people now behave these days, society, the people don't care much about even their neighbors. You know, we build high fences and all that. We don't, it's about just me and myself, my children and all that. People are no longer watchful, okay? Now, that is why even the kidnappers have increased. They also have understudied the society and discovered that they can even come in, take anybody out, and the other person will not be aware of it. So what we need to do is that the society will have to increase our level of vigilance. While we place demand on government to educate society. You see, the agency, on the National Orientation Agency, I don't know actually what...
Are you sure there's room to do that? Because you've just stated, and I think I agree with you 100%, that everybody seems preoccupied with his own territory,
yes.
his own little family republic.
Yes.
That seems to have come down to us, where the communal spirit
we are gradually
has
losing the importance of government. We are gradually losing it, because if you... now people are even providing their own security, using security operatives, yes. Corporate security operatives. People provide their own water, provide their own light, provide everything. The only thing that the citizen is engaged in is when the government have to come on the news, you know, to tell us what the budget is, or how it has been kidnapped, or how the budget has been this and that. That's the only participation, which is not impactful. It's never impactful.
But this is a form of crime. Apart from societal breakdown, it's probably given rise to this kind of crime where kidnapping is as prevalent as it is, and we are hearing that assassinations can be got for as little as 50,000 naira. It's scary, and it points to the poverty in the land. And whereas we talk about that very, very much when we're talking about corruption, now this is another aspect of the same societal breakdown. You wanted to contribute earlier.
No, I wanted to say that I'm not really surprised, because 2012, I wrote a book which says Federal Democracy or the Awaiting Implosion. Implosion, when it starts, you don't know it. All you see are the effects. What we are having now is that because people are unemployed, and because we generally become very false in what we do. For example, like my gentleman, the colleague said, where the word government is misunderstood, because in practice, all we have in Nigeria is only the federal government, because state governments don't have what a government needs, ability to enforce its law. Because if you watch in this incident, the OPC were more effective in this. They had courage to go in. The policemen didn't have the courage to go because they're not as committed as the locals would be. So that principle of policing, which is local accountability and local employment and local control of the police, is lacking. So when all these things are lacking, and we pretend that we have a force, the IG is always challenging. The IG doesn't want state policing, and yet he is overwhelmed by what is this. And this is a police force which in fact doesn't have itself confidence in itself, whereby the promotions are sectional, as we've heard.
So there are problems in there too.
There's the morale is low because of the IG is accused for being sectional. You know, all this play a part in what we have. So, and why is this so? Because the structures are wrong, because the IG is Inspector General of Police. He's not a police chief. If you watch, his Inspector General of Police is just that a person who sets the standard, and but we misuse it. What we need are state police to complement the federal police. That is lacking. That's why all these problems. When you allow people to have what is called home rule, self-rule in every respect of it, the people are more effective.
Okay. From Kumasi in Ghana. Good morning, Ede.
Yeah. Uncle Yaren.
Good morning, sir.
Good morning, sir. And good morning, your guest.
Good morning.
Yeah.
Please go ahead.
The suspected kidnapping, Uncle Yaren, I have to be sincere because I'm still a young guy. Do you know all those problems? When you, Uncle Yaren, when you are feeling hungry, there is nothing that will come into your mind except how you will make it and eat. That is what will come into your mind because we are feeling hungry. When someone is hungry, you will be planned and you have no hope. You must be having something bad in mind to make sure that you eat. That is exactly what is happening in Nigeria because there is no job. If someone that is completed university and you call it that the person is a graduate and now you know that they have learned a lot and you deny the person his right, what do you think that person will do with that his knowledge? He will now use that knowledge to counter anything to make sure that he makes comfortable of his living. That is exactly what is happening in Nigeria. And let's tell ourselves the truth. Uncle Yore, do you have freedom? Do you have freedom? And your girls over there, did they have freedom in Nigeria? Just let's tell ourselves the truth. Forget about oil. Let's forget about cocoa. Let's forget about tribalism. Do we have freedom? If we didn't have freedom, how are we going to go out from this freedom so that we can tell the Western that we are human beings?
Okay.
We are not like animals the way they think that we are. How can Britain, we say that, Theresa May, we say that the black people didn't deserve the right to be free, but rather they are white, they are deserving. It's a high time, Uncle Yori.
Eden, just before you go, as you are, do you have freedom in Ghana?
Yes, we have freedom. Because the reason why we have freedom is that, I will tell you, I have freedom in Ghana. Even I am not a citizen of a Ghanaian. But anywhere I'm going, even if you see police will come to you and they hug you. Even if we are stopping somewhere and the car of police are passing, they will pick you up and they go. Light, you will just use your light anywhere, anyhow you like. Honestly speaking, Ghana is very nice. Forget, they are lovely people. I'm telling you the fact.
Okay.
I prefer to be in Ghana rather than
I was just going to say, hurry up and come back home. It's not as bad. But you've just told me you prefer to be in Ghana. Thank you very much for calling in. Really appreciate you, Eden. His premise is local poverty. In as much as there is that poverty on the ground, this is an uphill task, if not impossible, an impossible task for us to do.
And in a country where Nigeria is much richer than Ghana,
of course,
much richer than Lagos State,
yes,
richer than Ghana.
There
Lagos State is richer than Ghana.
You see,
so this is the contradiction.
This is
because poverty weakens everything. If you look at the Holy Writ, Proverbs 10:15, so the rich man's word is a strong city. The destruction of the poor is their poverty. I mean, the poor man is already afflicted by his poverty. That's such that he doesn't even need the devil. He's already...
Okay, I'm sorry, sir.
Very.
The poor have always been with us,
yes.
And we weren't hearing of this, or maybe it's the internet and the immediacy of information transmission nowadays that is making it seem as if it's more prevalent. But let me take someone from Bida who has called in. Is it Bida? Yes. Joshua, good morning, sir.
Good morning.
Thank you very much for calling in. Sure.
And good morning to retired Colonel Tony Young and Mr. Evans.
Thank you.
I want to contribute this way. The high level of crime and criminality in Nigeria is as a result of the eroded social, family, and cultural values.
Okay.
Uncle Yori, do you know that in the last 50 years, if a person commits a crime, the person is ostracized? Population is not a factor of high level of criminality or criminal actions. Nigeria needs to do some soul searching. Because if you compare Nigeria, we are not even up to China, or neither are we up to Indonesia, and neither are we up to India. Do you know that our problem started from 1977 when Obasanjo imported some idols and other gods from other nations into the...
You're talking about Festac 77?
Yes. No,
right?
Festac 77.
That's what you're talking about. That's the Obasanjo importation of idols and deities.
Our God is a jealous God, and there is no nation that will import.
Okay.
That is why we have missed it.
Okay, Joshua. Joshua, I'm sorry to interrupt you. I've got to go on a quick break now, but thank you very much for calling in. The gods are not to blame. I think in Kemo War somebody wrote that, but we'll come back. Olarotimi. Stay with us, please. We'll be right back. Welcome back. Thank you very much to the caller just before we went on break. He introduced a totally different perspective to the entire thing, the collapse of our societal values, and he linked it back to First Act 77, although he blamed the head of state at the time, Olusegun Obasanjo, for importing, as he put it, all sorts of gods and idols from all over the place. Now all those gods, First Act is over, they've gone. All those gods have now, taken up tenancy here. Why will we not have problems, right? Okay, Mr. George, good morning, and thank you for holding on.
Good morning, Uncle Yuri.
Good morning, sir.
Uncle Yuri, much as I agree that there is a degradation of values in our society, I do not subscribe to the fact that that is the main reason for what is happening, or that it has something to do with our culture.
Okay.
The problem is that people are beginning to lose confidence in our judicial system. The mob that I saw, they know that if those people were caught and taken to the police, or, that after 2 or 3 days, nobody will hear anything about what happens to them again. That is why they are beginning to take laws into their hands.
Yeah.
It is not because you have a structure that has 36 states, or federal government controls 1% of this or that. Our judicial system needs to be revamped. The police force itself, I'm happy that there is a military person there in the panel. The police itself needs total reformation. The corporate culture of the police, the people do not have confidence in it. You go and report something to the police will turn around and take the information to the person that you reported. They don't have confidence in the police system. Sure. Even if it is state police, the same thing will happen there. It is where we need change is moral regard, and then police. If I were the federal government, I would take a new look at the police force, bring in a criminologist that is not from the police force. If you want to reform the police, somebody that is already in the police system, that has imbibed the corporate culture of the police, cannot reform it. Bring in someone else, give him terms of reference that you want a restructuring and a new governance pattern of the police. So that the structure of things will change.
Okay. We're really talking about restructuring here, Mr. George. Restructuring within the police. That seems to be because, and that's what was said earlier.
And talking about the restructuring of the police, it starts from the recruitment.
Yeah.
See, the entry level, the nuances of that level, what you provide to the operatives at that level will determine what they will do in the job, because the training is supposed to be such that will be holistic, and all the requisite materials they need should be given to them. They should not be kept in poorly developed environments. Well, if you look at the police college in Lagos here, you see the condition of life there.
Yeah, you look at police barracks.
Yeah, you don't expect to get any good result from that kind of training, because upon inception, they're already corrupted. So they are going to carry that into the service, and you get. So even if you have state police and you don't create that competent entry level where you build capacity and develop human capital development at that entry level, if you like, have all states recruit their police. If they recruit their police wrongly, we're still going to have, still the same problem.
Mr. Okwara in Victoria Island, good morning, sir.
Good morning.
Thank you for calling in.
And good morning to the guests here.
Thank you.
Good morning.
Yeah, this is our nation. This is our country. It's a pity that we are seeing all this thing happening. Well, is it what we are calling for state police and community policing? I think they are the ones that go into the look and corner of every state to know what is happening. The entire police, Nigeria police, cannot do all these things.
True.
But when we are calling for these things, nobody pays to the attention. Please, we need community policing and state police. Uncle Yeri, go to Cotonou here. It's a country of like ours. And go and look at life there. Or the Ghana man who spoke to you now. I tell you, when you go out and come back, you will weep for this country. We have everything it takes. Okay, look at the crowd that came there. If they have something to do, you will not see those crowds there because they are doing nothing.
Yeah, that's another aspect to the whole thing.
See our nation. I remember when Nigeria was Nigeria. So you both had to carry our bridges. When
Nigeria is still Nigeria. Mr. Okpara, Nigeria is still Nigeria.
Nigeria was on. So you both carry their bridges. Today, you don't have one national carrier. All the workers there, they are empty.
Yeah, indeed.
Shipping line, nothing is happening. All the workers there, they are unemployed. Textile mill, where are they today? All the staff unemployed. So what is our leaders doing to revive this so that people will have jobs to do?
Thank you, Mr. Okpara. Thank you. We can relate with you. We get your question. What are our leaders doing? It's a rhetorical question because the answer is obvious from your point of view. I think that precisely nothing. But maybe that's even an exaggeration that we have to make sometimes in the throes of our pains. We should be the beneficiaries of good governance, is what we are told. It's not as good as it could have been, we know. Now, the point that our earlier caller, Mr. George, made, that, look, part of the problem that the police is facing now, especially in this kind of an operation, is that the people have got it into their head that, look, if suspects are handed over to the police, invariably 2 days later, they're gone. Maybe whatever time it takes, but they have this impression, I don't know if it is right or wrong, that you won't necessarily get justice for handing over a suspect to the police. Justice being a thorough investigation and then a pronouncement after. People are just let go of. Now that's a problem in there, and it's not just in the criminal on the criminal sphere. We often complain about that on the political level.
See, why to some of us structures are so important, and one cannot wish it away and say, oh no, it's not to do with state or whatever, or state policing. You see, once you allow the people take hold of their own, in other words, participate in their own governance, the point of home rule or self-rule is so fundamental, because it's not to do with whether you are well educated. If the OPC elements, they have different grades, and they are more effective.
Indeed.
So what we are saying is that give people back their power and handle what you can handle in Abuja. This is so fundamental, because if you have a policeman who knows that, this is why who knows that if he doesn't do his work well, his own
community, his own direct community is in danger.
It's so fundamental.
He'll have a different attitude to police work, as opposed to a man who happens to be on a posting from Adamawa, for example, and he has to deal with something in Egbe or Ikotun. Let me take Bola from Ikeja. Good morning.
Yeah, good morning, Uncle Yori.
Thank you for calling in, sir.
And good morning to your guest.
Sure.
Good morning.
Yeah, Uncle Yori, let me quickly say this. Just as we know, we have domestic animals that live in the home, and we have wild animals that live in the jungle. When you fail to take care of your environment, you invite the wild animals like snakes and some other wild animals to your home. And the friendship you've created between you and the home's animal will disappear, because the snake will not live with you the way a cat relates with you.
Okay.
What am I saying in essence?
Yes.
When our judiciary has the problem that when people commit offense, different, very grievous offenses, at last you just hear it or read it on the paper, the next day or the next day you will not hear it again. Look at the case of Evans. The case is dying down. Nobody is asking questions.
Yeah, but I'm sure the police won't agree with you that the case is dying down.
So
but you know, we talk. We, the public, talk. It's all right.
What about Clifford Hodgie? What about Kabiru Sokoto, and some other people, some other alleged individuals? You know, people are beginning to take law into their hand just because the government has failed us.
Thank you very much for calling in, Bola. Really appreciate your call, Mr. Bola, calling in from Ikeja. The case is very bad. Even this matter of trying to police ourselves, even our own cultural institutions are in peril, by which I mean, for God's sake, traditional rulers are being kidnapped. Yes. Yeah, there was a false instance the other day, and that was quickly unmasked, and the man was dethroned. But even the custodians of our tradition and our culture and much of what we're speaking about, even they themselves are not immune. Although I also read some intellectual writing, I think it was on Sunday, saying that actually any traditional ruler that has gone through the proper, appropriate rites to arrive at his throne cannot be kidnapped. He was alluding to the fact that, look, it's all these modern day traditional rulers that just, walk onto the throne any old how, that they are the, that's a different matter. But they are even attacking, these criminals are attacking the structure of the very cultural, communal authorities that we've always known. Before, they used to say, let's go to the palace and talk this whole matter out. Where are you going? When they've kidnapped the monarch.
The critical point I would say is, because
please continue.
Because of the evidence we had in where politicians use people for elections and dump them, and these people become people they cannot control. One of the places in the past few years, thugs, cults are in some zones of the country play a part for politicians, and many of them are the ones. Of course, Boko Haram came from it. Now,
and then even in the Niger Delta, right?
Yeah,
the freedom fighters
there were people
metamorphosed into.
From. So, in other words, while all this is that the politicians themselves have not been responsible enough in that the means of getting power is such that it's so corrupt that I, as a Christian, will not dare it, because there's no way I would be successfully become a politician in the South zone and be an untainted Christian.
Really? As bad as that?
It's as bad as that.
Okay, one moment, sir. Let me take on Kelvin, calling in from Oshodi. Is that Kelvin? Did I just miss Kelvin? Kelvin? Oh, I'm sorry, I just lost you, Kelvin. See if you can get in again.
There's a part I want to introduce to this.
Please.
We should be careful when we say it's because the apparatus of the law is not working. That is why people are taking laws into their hands. But when we keep repeating that, what the Nigerian over there watching us is saying is that, okay, this is affirmed, this is positive, this is what we should continue, because the police, the law and all that are not working. I beg to disagree.
Well, it's not so much that they're not working, sir, as the average Nigerian has unfortunately come to a state of consciousness where he knows how it works.
You can't cover the truth.
He can manipulate it to work for him.
Is it true? What I'm saying, you can't cover the truth. Is it true? What I'm saying is wrong.
No, it's not wrong.
It's wrong. No, for them to take laws into their hands.
Explain it. Explain it.
It's jungle justice. Jungle justice is no justice.
Yeah, we understand that.
Because you end up killing the wrong person sometimes.
Yes.
Sometimes you might be killing the right person.
That's agreed.
But then, you know,
it still is not justice.
Yeah, you will be given not a penalty for the offense.
But don't defend judiciary.
I'm not defending judiciary. What I'm saying is that when you keep saying that these people are doing this because the laws are not working, the police are not working, that is why what they get, the impression they get is that, yeah, we can continue in our jungle justice. We can continue to lynch people, we can continue to do all that. But I'm saying
you're talking about
it's not a reason.
Society.
I agree.
It's not a reason why they should keep on jungle justice, because it's primitive, it's primordial, it's not a system that is sustainable.
Okay, I think everybody would agree with what you've just said.
Well, somebody will agree with that. But you see, we cannot keep on telling lies to ourselves. The judiciary has to rise up to earn its respect, not by using words to defend it.
I don't think he was really defending in that sense.
No, because
you see, there is a caution. Perhaps you'll agree that unfortunately today, the ordinary Nigerian, it is still the ordinary Nigerian has a problem with the police for him to see how it works.
And the
that
police.
Unfortunately, say this with a bit of trepidation, there are individuals in this society that assume that they can manipulate whatever policing needs to be done to suit them.
And the judiciary too.
And if you don't have any money, you don't have anything in society, you're at a loss.
And the judiciary too.
So
the challenge is, if I'm a lawyer, the challenge is to improve my profession. And it is not to blame those who are critical of my profession. But the challenge, it's just like when the military were accused of problems in the Northeast.
Yes.
Some of us said, yes, there was a problem there. It needs to be dealt with. And it's all to improve the society. The issue,
you're saying that, look, we need to call a spade a spade.
It's true.
In this whole matter.
That's been our problem.
Okay. Mazi Okorafo in Arochukwu. Good morning, sir. No, that wasn't my fault. Mazi, I'm so sorry. Mazi Okorafo, see if you can get back in. Again, going back to the point that Mr. George started off, which is that people simply, the lynch mob, I think some people were killed. It all goes back to a lack of confidence. And we're talking about this whole lack of confidence in the authorities to do what is needful. It was what was the original problem that led to those alleged kidnappers. Although no evidence of any kidnapping so far. There's a man going through the tunnel, a reporter, not being a police investigator, but still said that she couldn't see any evidence of what they were talking about. But somebody had put the word out that these were kidnappers, and so the matter is with the police. Most people would hope that the police will investigate this whole thing and let us know exactly what's happening. But it still points to the larger issue of we don't really know what to do about our security, because the good governance that we've invested in through our votes, we were nowhere near our money's worth. Mr. Musa in Niger State, good morning, sir.
Hello.
Hello, Mr. Musa.
Hello.
Hello, sir. Continue. Go on, please.
Hello, sir. I can't hear you.
Oh, but we can hear you. So, is it Musa in Kainji? That line was problematic. Mr. Musa in Kainji, see if you can get back in. We really are in two minds. I imagine that there's a whole swathe of our society that people like your very good self, an officer of the law, of the whole law system, saying that, look, this is the way these things should be. There's the due process, there are laws, there's a procedure. And then there's another, perhaps even wider, swathe saying that, look, if you want justice, don't bring police into this matter. Don't bring police and lawyers into this matter if you want justice. Don't bring police and lawyers in.
I understand the fears of Nigeria.
They will mess up the whole justice aspect of it.
At the same time, we should also understand that some years ago in Alo, 4 people were killed.
Yes.
After investigation, it turned out that they were not criminals.
Exactly.
So society is shooting herself on the foot.
I know.
By taking on this jungle justice and lynch people hastily. That's what I'm saying. So I'm not saying that because I know that there's a problem in the judiciary, serious problem, even more in the judiciary than the police. You understand? But what I'm saying is that we have to be careful. Nigeria is our own. So we need to be thorough in whatever we're doing. It is not right for people to take laws into their hands anywhere in the world.
Let's try Mr. Yaya in Ojuelegba. Good morning, sir.
Good morning. Am I not calling Channel TV?
Yes, we can hear you. Please go ahead, sir. It is TV Continental.
Yes, I want to raise a contribution over what the... Good morning. This is Yaya. Okay, my contribution is this. Please, just like as the colonel said, let a spade be called a spade. Let's stop beating around the bush. At least we should call something straightforward. We should be straightforward over what we are saying. This is what concerns the nation, and everybody is watching. Then we should be straightforward.
Okay, well, short and sharp. I think that's. I think the point you are making is that we need to tell ourselves the home truths and not delude ourselves with cover-up stories.
You see, we are so false to ourselves that even parents encourage children to do exam malpractices, and same parents will be proud to say, my son has done so well. We are so false to ourselves that elections are 70% in the country false movements.
But we still ratify it.
We still ratify it.
And say we have, we have the result of an election. Let's manage it so.
So this is why all this is what is said, the chickens have come home to roost.
Okay, Mazi Okorafor has got back on the line. Thank you for that. Go ahead, Mazi.
Good morning, sir. Good morning, Colonel and honor guests. Thank you very much.
Good morning.
We should call the youth, the traditional rulers, to summon all the ritualists in their community and advise them to change occupation. Now, if they, because the problem we have in Nigeria, we chase symptoms, we don't chase the causes. If we can get all these traditional rulers and meet them and let them talk to all these the ritualists, that we now consult the real religious leaders, people who have that power of binding and casting. Let them sit down and gather, because we have to look for the causes of all this, because all these kidnappers, name them anything, armed robbers, because they have a link with all these ritualists, they feel that they have additional power, more than so. All these are separate powers. God is the ultimate. So if we can call all these real religions who have the power of binding and casting, let's do it. And one of the corners said about faith, honestly speaking, if you trace the origin of this voodoo we have in Nigeria, all this is Texas created all this. We invited all the neighboring countries to bring all their food into Nigeria. And they abandoned this issue and left Nigeria. And that's why we have all these problems. The area we call it real, they just have to ban and cut all of them, the better for us. Thank you very much for the presence in Lagos.
Indeed, thank you very much. When I hear about this spiritual cover for criminals, ritualists, kidnappers, assassins, having ritual cover, and that's part of the problem from the religious houses.
Yes.
And then this gives them a false sense of security on the one hand, and two, it compromises the very institutions that we look to for safety and for authority. You run to a church when you feel that you need total cover. In the Nigeria of today, I'm not sure if that is your best option.
It's a system that works against itself. I think that even the churches should be investigated.
Because we're running down now.
Yes, the churches should be investigated. The pastors who are false, or the imams,
the sources of funds for building of churches
using
can
sorcery,
be looked at.
Voodoo and all that, ascribing it to God and all that.
There is Islam, there is Christianity, there's also traditional religion, and so let's not desecrate all that side of town. There are those who go by that.
There is.
Although I'm not saying that voodoo and black magic and bad, we didn't call that, but the point is, they still are traditionalists.
Yeah, using it to commit offense is what I'm against. People use voodoo to do some positive things.
I'm not even speaking for voodoo at all.
So,
I'm just
but what I'm saying
is
that when you use it to commit offense, desecrate the law, create problem for humanity and all
but
that.
Christianity is used for that. Islam is used for that.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
And even the traditional religions.
Once you use it negatively.
It's just that we are told that these are not real Christians. These are not real Muslims.
I think that there's a high level of ignorance.
Okay.
And that is, it pervades. Ignorance is exhibited even by institutions. For example, the ignorant move by the police to attack protesters itself is overheating the security climate. The IG should call himself to order. What he did against Charlie Boy and others is unforgivable.
Okay.
And some of us are ready to stand against it, even to our death.
Indeed. Thank you very much for making that point.
So we criticize the Obasanjo government, this government, that they must be more responsible. The attack on protesters is unacceptable.
Thank you very much to Colonel Tony Young. We've completely run out of time. Security consultant. Really appreciate your perspectives. Same thing with you, Mr. Evans Ofeli, public affairs analyst and legal practitioner. We'll wait for the investigation, and so maybe we'll be able to make sense of this in due course. That's our program today. Join us tomorrow for a fresh edition of the program. I'm Yori Folarin. Bye-bye for now.